Okay, guys, we have made it to the end of Nia's book, Bottom of the Pyramid. We got chapter 16 and 17 to review. If you haven't watched my previous videos reviewing these chapters, go back, watch that now, come back to this. Okay, so I like these last two chapters. She did a great job closing out this book. So chapter 16, she opens up with like how important voting is to her family. She speaks on the times where she would go with her family to vote, and then she would just watch them, like, you know, exercise their right to vote. So when it comes time for her to vote, she's very excited, and along with that, she ends up her freshman year of college. She becomes involved with voter advocacy. And so I like this because two young people aren't really interested in voting nowadays, right? And they don't think voting is important, and they think like, oh, well, I don't like neither, so I'm just not gonna vote. And they don't see how much a difference it makes. Hopefully now, like now everything's seeing everything that's been going on as of recent, hopefully that helps people to understand like, my vote matters, I need to get out and vote. Yeah, so she becomes involved with voter advocacy, and she ends up like working with Michelle Obama's team. Like they asked her if like she wanted to do more things regarding voting, and so she worked at a voter registration food drive in Pittsburgh, and there she met a lady named Jade. So Jade takes her under the wing, taught her how to like navigate the political world as like a woman of color, just showing her the ropes and just what she needs to know if she wants to further her career in political advocacy. So organization, like after this happened, like organizations started reaching out to her to kind of help and be on their team. Places like I Am a Voter and I Will Vote. So then she became involved in like other issues she felt passionate about. So this was like, all right, cool, I get exposed to the voting world and getting people to like vote, but now I can really make a difference, because she sees the difference that she's making, because she speaks on the time period she's speaking on is during the Biden presidential election. Yeah, Biden presidential election. And she said that during that was the most like the most young people had voted, like the turnout amongst young people, that it was very high. So she was glad to be a part of something and knew that she made a difference. So from there, that's when she's like, all right, let me start working on stuff, that other issues that I feel with that can be fixed like politically. So she starts working with Democratic National Convention, aka DNC. She ended up being able to interview Senator Edward Markey, Pennsylvania government Josh Shapiro, and then Dr. Anthony Fauci, and he was the former chief advisor. So she worked closely with people in the White House, and she was even invited by Jill Biden to the White House. I think if I recall correctly, she said for like a holiday dinner. So she's ecstatic, right? She's like, cause she's saying like, especially due to COVID protocols, the list was very like picky because they couldn't have as many people, and she's like, I was still picked. So she was like, boom. She went out and she splurged for this, because she's like, this is the only time I'm gonna be able to do this. It's a once in a lifetime. I'm gonna come in there looking cool, cute. She said she went and bought a Chanel suit. I said, baby, you really decided to step out. So she gets there, has the time of her life, and then she ends up getting invited to the next 3 events. So that was just funny, because she really thought that was only one time, but like, she ends up, you know, it was a recurring thing. So then she speaks about her college year. So if y'all recall in the last video, she gets accepted into college, and when she goes to college, it's COVID, so they had to be in the dorms. So she's like sophomore year, she goes back and she lives on campus. So her parents felt like this is very like she really needed to live on campus because it would shape her into the adult. And yes, I agree with them wholeheartedly, because honestly, me going 5 hours from home and living on campus and getting a college experience, that really shaped me into who I was, because college is a whole different ballpark. You know, I'm not even gonna get into that. It's a whole different ballpark. Not even just the parties, but just learning how to time manage, how to get up after you've been out all night, how to budget money. Like, it's a lot. So this is also important for her because, you know, she spent she mentioned in the previous chapters that she felt very sheltered. So being on campus will help her experience a lot. She spoke of how she never shared a space with somebody before, and so she lived on campus, but she also kept her apartment just in case like everything, you know, went bad. So she then realized UCLA had a dance team. So she goes and she auditions for it and she's chosen for it. And then she's like, although like she was like they were like doing it at basketball games and stuff, like although they weren't competing, she just loved the fact that she was on the stage again and dancing. So I'm assuming at this point she started to get over her fear of like messing up. And because you remember her last video, she said she didn't want to dance anymore like in public because she didn't want to mess up and she didn't want to get recorded. So I'm guessing she got over like that fear. And she even spoke about like how this dance team was like very uplifting. They even let the team choreograph if they wanted to, like they had the opportunity to, and she never considered it like being a choreographer, but of course it encouraged her to try it anyway. And through this she realized like she actually liked to choreograph dances. So we go back to like her political realm, and she goes to Washington to meet with DNC. So during her visit, she was able to go to the press room and watch President Biden give a speech on COVID vaccine and booster shots. And she does, like, you can tell through this chapter like how passionate she is about voting in the political realm. And so while she's watching him, she's just like amazed, right? And afterwards, she was able to meet him. So her, along with the other influencers that were at the White House, they were pulled aside, and then he came out and they spoke. He spoke with them, and then they took a picture on the steps. He invited them to the Oval Office, gave them a 1-hour tour, and that's like big because like getting into the Oval Office is hard. Shoot, I even feel like getting on the White House premises is hard, but like getting to be where the president is actually doing all his work, where it's so like closed off. Because I mean, I watch Scandal, and like sometimes Olivia Pope couldn't even get in the Oval Office. All right, that was it. Let me get back. All right, so then she ends up going to see former vice president, I think she was vice president at the time, Kamala Harris speak. And she was the only one allowed to interview her. Kamala Harris' team did their research on Nia, and then they handpicked her to be the one to interview her. And then so she later does a roundtable event with her, and then like they discuss like human and reproductive rights. And Nia just talks about how Kamala Harris like came in. So this is like the roundtable event happens a year after she interviews her. So Nia talks about like comes in and she's like greeting everyone, and you know per usual she gets to Nia, and she was like, it's been a while since I seen you. And so Nia's like caught off guard. She's like, oh my gosh, like she remembers me. So she's excited of the fact that, Vice President Kamala Harris, I had remembered her. So we're changing lanes now. So Nia started doing Dance with Nia Facebook on a Facebook Watch series. And it was where she interviewed dancers with disabilities. It's where she interviewed dancers with disabilities, and then she did they did a dance routine together. So I guess with that, like she was using her choreographing skills that she learned from the dance team, and then she also performed it with them, and she was just talking like she just really wanted to just like she didn't want to look for like a sob story to grab clicks. She really just wanted to highlight dancers and let everybody see like there are people, everyone is dancers at their core, no matter how differently they come. And she was allowing them to tell their story in their own way. She said it was very important to her to not like pressure them and then make them feel very comfortable into telling their story. So then she goes like working with brands like through social media allowed her to accomplish a big goal of hers, right? And that was like paying her way through college. And when I read this, I'm like, oh my gosh, Nia is a hustler. You hear me? Nia is a hustler. Cause you telling me like to think like what she came from, right? She came from money. And the fact she still has that strong work ethic, like her parents really did a great job with raising her. So she said like the reason why she wanted to, because like she didn't want to burden her family by having them pay it. And then not only was the flex that she's paying her way through college, the other flex was the fact she told her agent she wanted to walk out of college with no debt. Her agent said bet. They kept her booked and busy in order to keep her to let her pay her way without having to take out any loans. So then she just speaks briefly on how she joined the AKA, and Holly was one as well. Now I knew Nia was an AKA, but I did not know Holly was an AKA. That's very interesting to know. So then I'm glad, like, you know, as much controversy it is behind like the Greek lifestyle of it all, I am glad that she was able to form a sisterhood with black people, you know, like more like being around people of her color, people that appreciate her and won't nitpick her, people that understand her. And instead of like what she was around when a lot of the girls, they didn't understand her and they often left her out because she didn't really look like them. So I was glad that she's able to now like experience these things after everything she had experienced. So she now says like attending college was the best decision she ever made, and I'm glad for that, because you know last review she did talk about like how it was kind of iffy, like she didn't know if it was gonna stunt her too much, but you know obviously it didn't, and she's just glad that she attended college. So in her apartment, just dating back to like political stuff, this whole chapter was kind of like more so like her love for political, right? So in her apartment, she has a wall of letters that she received from political leaders. She has a letter from Joe Biden, and then she has one from Michelle Obama. And then she said once she crossed Kamala Harris, I hope I've been saying her name right. I really hope I've been saying her name wrong. It's Kamala. Wow. Kamala Harris sent her a letter welcoming her to the basically to the sorority, and she just said it felt really cool to be to be sisters with a former vice president. And so, you know, she just kind of ended off with like, I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing, and this is really only the beginning. So then we move on to chapter 17. So she speaks how she's grateful for her social media following. So this is her like really, she's just opening it up, like expressing her gratitude, right? So she's grateful for her social media following because it's helped her embrace her life, and she just loved watching her fan base grow. And she remembered back to when she was on Dance Moms, and she would think that she would never have a huge fan base because of the way she saw how the girls would have like so many followers and she really wouldn't have any. And she said due to her own experience, like she started paying attention to like, you know, on TV shows and things of that nature, she would go and look at the following of the white cast members, and then she said in the pattern that she noticed was that the black castmates would always have the least amount of followers. And she said Caleb from Stranger Things actually had came up to her and like kind of pointed that out to her one time. He was like, do you like ever notice that, like, and kind of was, I guess, talking in code, and she was like, yep, I noticed too. So I'm glad that she was able to, like, in a sense, learn that like it's not just me, it's everybody. It's nothing wrong with me, it's something wrong with y'all. It's something wrong with the viewers. It's something wrong with the world, like that they're acting this way towards us. So I feel like it, in a sense, it felt good for me to know that she was no longer blaming herself and thinking something was wrong with her because of the fact that, you know, how the fandom was treating her. So she goes back and speaks how like social media had opened up so many life-changing opportunities. She's just recalling on like the off-Broadway, the brand deals, and then the TV shows and the movies. And then she even talks about like how she shared her natural hair journey on social media, and her followers helped to get it back healthy state. Like they was giving her healthy, hair products that would help her hair, and she was like, her hair is like, you know, back healthy now. And now it's to the point like she has a community. She's built a community, and the community's asking her like, oh my gosh, what kind of makeup do you wear? What kind of products do you use? And she's just grateful to now have this community that she so longed for. So she speaks how she's blocked out a lot of memories from Dance Moms, and writing this book made her reopen these wounds. And throughout the writing, she said she had to like step away a few times from the book to like gather herself. And I can understand how it can be hard. I was thinking that throughout reading the book. I was like, I wonder if she's like having, like, if it's hard for her to relive a lot of these moments. Because like, although like, so to some people, this may be like tea, but it's really somebody's real life at the end of the day. It actually happened. She had to endure it for, you know, 6-7 years. And I'm glad that she was able to heal. But, you know, it's always going to be a wound there. No matter how much you heal, it's always going to be a wound that's emotional. But back to it. She said during the pandemic, she speaks how Dance Moms had came back with a whole new cast. And I do remember this, like, season 8. I don't remember how well it did, though. But obviously nobody really talked about it, so I guess not. So she speaks how she realized like the show is like super popular still to this day, like how many hashtags, how many posts are under the hashtag Dance Moms. Just she was like, and then the sound bites that would go viral on TikTok. Like she didn't realize how popular Dance Moms had lasted. How popular Dance Moms had became and how long it's lasted. And then she knows that she's realized that ever since people have been older and they started like rewatching it, like things that they once looked at as funny in the past are now like controversial. And that is true, because I even spoke on myself. Like I was like, I remember like I used to love watching Dance Moms. When I rewatched it though, I was kind of uncomfortable because, you know, I don't it's like certain things, or like it's not even like the racism, like, or how they acted towards her. I'm just uncomfortable overall with like how the moms would fight, how they would act towards the girls, how they would act towards Abby. Like everything about this show is kind of weird to me, you know. And it was some good moments, and it was some like, and the dancing was great at a lot of times, majority of the time. But like they like that beef with Kathy and all that was stupid to me. How she treated Vivienne was stupid to me. Like I just didn't like that. So she speaks on Abby's cancer diagnosis. And she said how I sent her into like a whirlpool of emotions. And she was like, no matter our differences, like I would never wish that upon Abby. So she just says like this caused her to think like, yeah, like we abruptly left the ALDC. Like I had no closure from a place and a teacher that I grew up like dancing with. And it was just like one day I was there, the next day I wasn't. As this was going on, right, her acting coach had died due to a stroke. And she didn't get the chance to tell them like, thank you for everything you've done for me. Like you've really gotten me to this point. Like, because if I recall, she said they died right before she got booked for the soap opera, Beautiful, Bold and Beautiful. So she didn't even get to thank them for like helping her get to that next level. And sitting with those feelings really like you know, really hurt her. She didn't get the chance to tell somebody how much she appreciated them. So the times are like, now that the time rolls around that Abby is having this cancer diagnosis and she may face death, Nia's like, okay, like I'm not gonna let my opportunity go. I'm gonna, you know, tell, I guess she said she really didn't have anything planned, but she just know she wanted to at least acknowledge, like, I guess, like, thank you, you know what I'm saying? Or probably just to clear the air. Who knows, right? So Holly reaches out to see if she can visit Abby. So Abby denies their visit request, and she did it on her birthday. Abby says she already heard everything she needs to hear from her Insta Live. She was proud that she had a script to follow. So when I'm saying she, we're speaking of Nia, because yeah, I don't remember if she if in the book if she was saying Nia's name. All right, she was proud that she had a script to follow, and she needed to get back to cleaning out her closet, literally and figuratively. Let me finish. So then I was gonna say what I think, but I'm gonna just finish everything. So she also said perhaps her mom, Holly, was a parent. Perhaps her mom was a parent who always thought their child did no wrong, and that she wouldn't know because she never saw Holly around her much. She also takes credit for Nia's success, and every penny in her pocket was because of her, aka Abby. So Abby's taking credit, like, you know, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. And she tells Holly and Nia that they should be grateful for her because they don't have to shop in thrift stores. And so it's so many things that we have to unpack right now, right? So one, it's like even on your deathbed, you are still a malicious human being. Like, you would think, like, you know how people like go like their whole life and they so mean and they're so nasty, and then they get old and then, you know, they get more heavy into religion and they change their life around because they realize they don't have much time left, and they want to, you know, they want to repent for all their sins, right? But with Abby, it's like, you get old and you're still, and it just shows how miserable of a human being she is. And I'm glad that not just Nia, but I'm glad that all the girls got away from her, right? Because it's just so, like, that's just such a toxic person to be around. And the fact that, like, Nia genuinely did not do anything to that woman for her to even have a response like that, right? And Nia even says, like, she feels like that Abby wanted that control over everyone, and the fact that she couldn't control Nia, like, the only thing she could control was, like, inside of that studio, but Nia went out and did her own thing with her music and stuff like that. And she was like, she felt like the fact that Abby couldn't control that was really what made her start to, like, resent her, because she also did speak on, like, how a lot of their relationship did shift once she had got more into music. And then, so the other thing I want to speak on is, like, and even somebody had said this in my comments too, like, I think Holly had the most money on that show. Like, they family probably had the most money on that show. And the comment even spoke on, like, how, like, a lot of them moms was mad because, like, you can't touch her. Like, you can't even talk about, like, oh, you broke. Like, you can't have that, like, poor angry black woman trope when it came to Holly, right? So the fact you talking about you should be grateful that y'all ain't shopping at thrift stores is crazy, because Neil used to be in Lululemon before everybody even got on the hype of Lululemon. And if y'all go on that website right now, y'all see Lululemon is like $70 upwards, and that is lowballing. That is lowballing. I bought a Lululemon set and spent $230 on a jacket and some pants and some sweatpants. And you telling me that a 7-year-old girl was dripped out in Lululemon almost every practice? Well, this is before, you know, they had to do the uniform practice. But, and y'all think she ain't had no money? This girl had an LV bag. She had an LV bag at 8, and I didn't even know what an LV bag was at 8. What? She was going to the same studio that all them other girls was going to. She was paying the same tuition that Abby set the price for. That was also high. But they should thank you because they don't have to shop in thrift store. Holly even popped her stuff one time. It was like, I pay $100,000 a year in tuition, and you think I can't pay yours?
Look how I dress, look where I live, look what I pay. I pay, what, almost $100,000 a year in private school tuition? And you're telling me I can't afford you? I did not say.
Come on now. So Nia says after this, she would never reach out to her again. She knows she tries to not keep hating her heart, but she said as far as she's concerned, Abby no longer exists in her world, and she likes to keep it that way. And we can really see how much Nia has matured and learned from the Nia we met. You know, her self-worth, she knows her self-worth more now. She knows how to protect her peace now, because, like, when she said, like, you know, I wanted to reach out to her because I didn't want her to, you know, God forbid, die, and I couldn't get off my chest what I had to say, even though I couldn't do that with the last person who died. That was you know, helped me with my career. And she said, yeah, I did it. She responded like that. I can't really control that, but I did what I wanted to do. I can't control what she does. And I love when she said that, because I'm just like, well, she didn't say exactly like that, but, you know, paraphrasing obviously. I love that she said that, because it's like, yes, like, F her. Like, literally F her. Like, forget what she got to say. Like, you can't break me no more. And I'm glad that she's got to the point that Abby cannot break her. So then she just talks about, like, casting. Oh, so, like, she speaks on how, like, Abby was still working for Lifetime. Like, even though she wasn't on Dance Moms anymore, she had, like, spinoffs, which I didn't know of these spinoffs. I'm actually was gonna look at them, see what they were. I'm not gonna watch them, but yeah. So now, you know, now people are older and they're able to see through Abby's ways, and viewers call out Abby's racism, right? And due to this, she was fired from Lifetime. So then Abby makes a apology statement, right? And I'm gonna pull that up for y'all right now because Nia had read it word for word, and I'm gonna do that for y'all as well. So Abby says, I genuinely understand and deeply regret. So might I add, Nia didn't say this in the book, but this comes from also the fact that Cameron's mom had gave out a series of accusations in an Instagram post, right? And she says the dance instructor, my bad. So Abby would say, like, I know you grew up in the hood with only a box of 8 crayons, but I grew up in a country club with a box of 64. Don't be stupid. Along with saying that the reason you are really here is because they need a sprinkle of color. Talking about the show needs a sprinkle of color. So yeah, I guess due to this is ultimately what all kind of led to the firing. But in the book, Nia kind of made it seem like people rewatched it and then that led to it. Could, you know, two things could be true at once though. So Abby responds and said, I genuinely understand and deeply regret how my words have affected and hurt those around me in the past, particularly those in the Black community. But Abby owned up to her actions, saying, I realize that racism can come not just from hate, but also from ignorance before. And then she, you know, goes to say she will educate herself and she will continue to like learn to do better. She ends it with, I understand that words alone are not enough. She concludes, I understand it takes time and genuine change. I guess they just kind of in short with what she said, because in the book Nia had read a long, you know, thing, but she apologizes to Cameron, right? And like she calls out Cameron by name when she's apologizing, and if I recall, she probably called somebody else out, but what Nia said is like, she ain't say my name. She said she ain't mention my name, and you know other people mentioned that too. I mean, realized that too, and that's just crazy because like, yes, what I had just read to y'all, what she had said to Cameron was crazy, bonkers, right? But it's also the fact that Nia endured this for 6 years, more than that because she was an OG. But you know, she endured that for so long. She was owed an apology out of everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like she deserved an apology. She said still to this day she hasn't received an apology though. So boom, we get to the end. She said if you're at the bottom of the pyramid, you have more room to grow. That's what she's learning. Like that's what she's taking. Being at the top has you in constant worry. Like you're always booking jobs, you're always getting these dance solos, and you're just wondering like when is it gonna end? When am I gonna mess up so bad that it's gonna end? But she's like, being at the bottom, you have more room to mess up and fail, and then you know work your way up to the top. So she's like, she's grateful for her journey and helps her be more grateful about where she is in life now. Speaks on how like you can always change your circumstances. Don't always, and I always preach this, don't always think that you have to be stuck in a situation that you don't like or be stuck in a box that people put you in. You can always change your circumstances and be who you really want to be. And she said there will be many Abbies in your life, but don't let them ruin you. People will try to steal your joy and tear you down, but you can't let them. And you don't have to prove yourself to anyone but yourself. She briefly speaks on how like people would come up to her and like ask for a picture, and then they'll bring up, I would assume Maddie, because they'll be like, oh, who is that big star from the show who started doing all this, that, and third. So I assume they were talking about Maddie, even though she didn't say the name. She said, you know, it kind of bothers her, but she just learns to just brush it off. So then she goes back to like, create your own opportunities. Don't wait for someone to choose you. And what we're gonna leave it with is she wants people to see past this. Like she's like, although like dance moms, when you think of me, you think of dance moms, right? But she wants people to now see past the show and see her for who she is now. And so those last few motivating things that I just read out to y'all, I feel like that was what she would have wanted someone to be saying to her, right? Because those are great words, and it was also reflecting her journey, but like kind of just speaking a little bit to her inner child as well, like, and speaking to everyone else who's like reading the book and maybe going through the stuff. Like I feel like everything she said is probably something that she wished somebody else was saying to her. So now what she's doing is, you know, saying it to us. And I do like how she flipped the meaning of bottom of the pyramid and she made it into her own positive connotation. And I'm glad that she's where she is now, and she's doing great, and she's surrounded by love, and she found herself, and she has boundaries. Like I'm really proud of her. And then the fact that she wrote this amazing book to be able to tell her story, even though we've heard so many other stories, and this is the story that we really, you know, needed to hear. And I hope she continues to, you know, do more books. It doesn't even really have to be on just her journey with dance moms, but just like do more books about anything, because she's a really great writer. I really hope this book helps to show people like Nia ain't the bad dancer that y'all think she is. She ain't what Abby has made her out to be, right? So yeah, let me know what y'all think. Let me know like how y'all feeling. Definitely will be continuing these series. I'm gonna miss doing this book. I'm gonna miss reading this book, and I'm gonna miss like, you know, having the talks with y'all. But I'm doing a TV show review. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all. It's the Fresh Prince, the remake. Just came out on Peacock. I'm gonna be doing those weekly recaps of the TV show. So if y'all watch that show, y'all want to tune in, go ahead and tune into that. But otherwise, drop your opinions in the comments, and I'll see y'all later.